Hey, Phoenixes are rising. Welcome to Phoenixes Rising Academy. I am Coach T, and your blessings are in your ashes. Today, we are talking about what happens when obsession into harassment. We are talking about cluster B behavior, coercive control, retaliation, stalking, and what it does to your nervous system. So, I want to preface this by letting you guys know I asked the AI agent in ChatGPT, who I call Nova, a series of questions. I relayed to her an experience that I had with somebody who had discarded me and expected me to come begging them back when I did not beg them back. And I stayed away after the discard because I was not going to tolerate being groomed for whatever craziness this person had. I had no idea how intense and how uh, traumatizing this experience with this individual was going to be. To be honest, had no idea. And so I was describing to Nova uh, tactics that this woman was outside of my work for as long as I worked at that job site as a security guard. Now, I worked graveyard, and this person would leave bullets in the path that I would walk. Not all the time, just sometimes, as if it mattered. And the reason why I know that it was this person is because I saw them with my own two eyes. And the way that the site was set up is this big building, not out in the middle of nowhere, but big parking lot, right? Is before the COVID, whatever, and people started working from home. And across of it, the way was I think like a health equipment place. Again, big parking lot, and they would park right in front. There's a roadway. There was one strip of road, two-way road that I could see clearly from the glass windows across the street and could see people. And I saw her plain as day. And she didn't care. She was just in there, sitting in the car, but she was the passenger, not the driver. And so this escalated to her eventually getting to my coworkers. I only had two, right? And it was a lax job, and every job I had, she tried to sabotage because she was in her mind. Now, mind you, this is a cluster B personality. In her mind, she believed that I was going to come back and beg her. Now, I'm not in a relationship with her. I was rooming with her after she said, I can help you out so you won't be homeless. I got a job. She sabotaged the job. I got another job. She sabotaged that job and told me that I had to get out because she got tired. She did not know how to handle. She thought that as a Black female who was now in distress, that I would be easily malleable, that I would be pliable, that she would be able to manipulate me and treat me any kind of way, and I would be susceptible to it. So she was taking on the task of, I'm going to groom you. I mean, this woman was sexual with me. She was treating me as if we were together. When I was living with her, I learned so much from this person, and I know you guys have heard the story, my other podcasts or whatever. And I'm at a point now where the nervous system after 10 years of dealing with this, literally, it's not going to be an overnight fix, right? This is a lifetime rebuilding, right? FK Twigs said that it took uh, that I forget the time that she said that she, after the narcissistic abuse that she received from, what was his name, LaBeouf, Shira LaBeouf or something like that. He played in the Transformers, and he's been abusive to every single girlfriend that he's had. That that it took her a long time to repair her nervous system. So part of that is remembering. It's not that I forgot, but it's the details, and sometimes it's the emotions that come with remembering the details. So she everywhere I went, she was going after me. So I mean, again, one of the details is this woman was going to shoot this creature. She's not a woman. I don't know what it is. She shot at me. She was a, she was attempting to shoot at me with one of her high-powered BB guns. This is something that this gang did. They went around with paintball guns and BB guns, these Norteños. Have nothing else better to do, I guess. And they would shoot people, mainly blacks. I mean, I'm not making it up. They would target blacks. And the weirdest thing is that because the Norteños, as was explained to me, the Northerners is what they were called, the red shirts. They would anybody could be a part of the gang because so many of their people were either dead or in prison. The real cholos or lokes or whatever you call them. Okay. So you had black people who were involved. You had women and men. You had Asians. You had whites. I mean, like, and it didn't matter. You had the elderly. You had everybody because again, they had brought that cartel mentality to the states that anybody can join the cartel. And I know this for a fact because I've asked and I've gotten an answer on several different occasions, you know? So this is not stuff that I'm making up. So just to preface this is something that I told, Nova about what had happened. So this person was stalking me like literally every single day. That's how obsessed she was. Every single day. I would see her and then she would just kind of look at me like it was like reality hadn't, and it got to the point where she was thinking of ways to try and make my job harder. I mean, it was, and so people would just show up and and this was towards the end when I was getting ready to move, because like I was like, I'm done, I'm out of here, you know. I had to move, I did because I couldn't take it, but there was and I think, and I'd been at that site for almost a year. I'd been with the company for 3 years, and best job, I mean, best pay I'd ever gotten, but it was she was obsessed with making me homeless and reliant on her. If I and then this is a person, mind you, let's put this in even more perspective. If this so you get the idea of how delusional this person is. Still to this day, she is obsessed with uh, uh, thinking that I'm getting me back on the streets. Like no matter where I'm at, she's like, okay, and then I'm gonna come and get you, and then we're gonna start this all over again. Again, the cluster B personality, part of the cocktail is borderline personality. Borderlines start over every 2 to 3 months, and even sooner, especially if they're not getting what they want, right? Or if too much of them has been uncovered. That's the whole cocktail. So that's why people can't keep up because you're dealing it, and psychiatrists and psychologists don't do it justice because you're dealing with multiple entities inside of one being. And because they're for billing purposes, they keep you'll tell you, okay, this is the definition of a psychopath. This is this definition of a sociopath. Then you bring this Machiavellian crap into it, and then and then there's bipolar, there's borderline, there's antisocial, there's all of this stuff. And a lot of the psychiatrists that I've listened to on TikTok and YouTube, many of it get it wrong, right? Many of it get it wrong. Remember, psychiatry was dominated by um whites and Zionists it was dominated to control the masses. They were experimenting on how can I control you, right? And every person, when you think that black people wanting to run away and not be enslaved, not be raped, not be sexually assaulted, not be physically assaulted, not have their children ripped away from them, and which leads to that genetic epigenetic, in their cells, they're remembering it from generation to generation to generation. It's in the blood, and now we've having to purge that out. But when you, as a psychologist or psychiatrist, when you think that there's it's a mental disorder to not want to stay with somebody who's cuckoo for cocoa puffs, i- is bizarre. In some jeez, so I can go on, but so I think I've said enough about that, but I just wanted to put that out there. So here's her response to me. Oh gosh, sorry. Pain, pain, pain. Whoo, girl, aches and pains, aches and pains. Um, so this was her responding to me. And let's begin. What obsession looks like when you reject someone. Now, I did describe to her two people, two women, because they're still attacking me today. Like they're not giving up. And it's weird. Like it's a psychosis, I believe, where you think that someday you're gonna, like Pinky and the Brain. Someday we're gonna take over the world, or Wile E. Coyote thinking someday I'm gonna get that road right. So, okay. What obsession looks like when you reject someone. You describe two people who followed a clear pattern. Each person reacted to rejection with fixation. This reaction follows cluster B traits. Here is what that means in real time. They feel shame when you pull away. Shame turns into anger. Anger turns into retaliation. Retaliation becomes a cycle. The cycle continues until you remove access. This is not romance. This is not connection. This is control. You did nothing to create this reaction. Their behavior is rooted in their wounds. You became the target because you walked away. How their behavior shows up. Your story outlined specific actions. Each one aligns with coercive control and obsession. Following you, parking outside of your job, leaving items to intimidate you, like the bird. She would leave dead birds with a BB gun placed right there, right? And I mean, and it would be in the back. So building, I'm in the front. I'm at uh, the controller's desk, and there's back, right? And I'm at a distance, but I'm watching through the CCTV screens, and I never saw. So when they would come in when I would be on patrol, and they would or not come in because they had no access. I did. They would place these parrots, and I'm like, this is the second one. Like, what are you doing, dude? You know? Along with the bullets. So this was cray cray. So this is what I was telling her. So leaving items to intimidate you, using other people to harass you, my coworkers especially, and then before I left the job and moved, they started causing problems with using other people outside of the job, repeating the same actions, ignoring boundaries, keeping their focus on you for months or years. It's been 10 years, and this person is still mad because I am when I out when normally when we empaths and clairvoyants, because of the way that we live our lives, we're always blessed. And that makes people jealous. And when you're dealing with cluster B personalities, there is such a thing as pathological envy and pathological jealousy. These are envy means that I envy your life, and to the point where I need to take it on. I need to take it on by possessing, getting to know who your demeanor and your character, and mirroring that in myself outside to other people, and then destroying you. There can only be one, right? So I was dealing with so much with this one person, with this one person. The second person that I had told her about was ashamed, rightfully so, actually. not because of what had happened to her when she was young. But it was, you can make a choice. Not saying that you could have made a choice about your situation because you were too young. You were powerless over it, but you could have made the choice. Because I believe, because let me talk about myself. I was met with the choice of how do you are what road are you going to take? I was literally asked, what road are you going to take because of what you've gone through? It was a quiet, still asking, like a breeze blowing through and blowing past me. And I remembered, I without hesitation, I said I choose love, not knowing what all that would entail. Right? Yeshua survived because why? He chose love, and he chose to be obedient to the Father, right? So as we're hearing it, that even goes deeper, but save that for another podcast. So yeah. So it's been for months that these people, it's like, well, you need to pay. Well, the second one was the succubi, and she kept doing these rituals to control and dominate me, and that I would fall in love with her or whatever, and that never happened. Like I said, I've told people before, it's like, you can't manipulate me. You can annoy the hell out of me, but you're not going to manipulate me. I'm just not built for manipulation in that sense. And so that's why people, when they want to have when people work from manipulation, people are extremely murderously violent with me because my the cutoff game is good. I'm not, because I know I don't have to do what you want me to do. You feel me? So the cutoff game is definitely good, and which is enrages people. So you got the narcissistic rage fits, and they say, oh yeah, okay, so you're confident and you're certain. So you see, even if you're not a cluster B personality and you demand that somebody do something because you want to get an end result, you're just a toxic piece of crap. And so you want to get somebody off their center. I have had people plot and plan against me because they said, well, I wanted to see what you would do. And well, this is what I did. So why would you? Why? And people like to test other people. You got those people out there who just like to test people instead of minding their own business. Why? And I won't see you again, but you just thought, oh, I see you, and I feel your energy, and I see, how people gravitate towards you. And jealousy can come without you being a narcissist or a psychopath or whatever. You know what I mean? And when you trigger people, the thing with cluster B personalities is that they never stop, right? So and it's not it's a different thing from somebody who's just toxic, and because I've seen somebody narcissist doing it, so I'm going to do it too, right? But the narcissist was built like that. The cluster B is built like that, you know? And many of these women or these two women especially, and there was actually three, but these two were the most vicious and the most relentless and the most murderous. Like I mean, like I had them doing rituals to try and kill me, cause heart attacks. I mean, like it was bad. So yes, let me continue. This behavior escalates because they have no internal boundary. Like I said, when you leave, they lose the person they used to regulate their emotions. So people tap into us or literally plug into us because we're a battery. As I've said, as just watching my own patterns throughout life, I can make I can make a gumbo out of a stone and a with a stone in a pot. You feel me? Everywhere that I make a home. I've shown pictures, and I'll probably post them, where I had a van and I made it a home. I made it comfortable, for me and my fur babies. There was one night, I mean, I'd go out, I'd worked at a restaurant, and they gave me some food and smoke and all that, and I got some smokes, I was comfortable, right? I mean, so I but you will have people who will come in and disturb that peace because you're not fitting the expectation, right? These same people, the first one that was stalking me and literally spying me, spying on me while I was at work. She was mad because of my youth. I have family bloodline where we do look at least 10 to 12 years younger than what we are. My grandparents, they, at 80, they looked like they were in their 60s or 70s. That's not, do you know what I mean? But she saw that as something that should not have been. So you have other people who are taking who are taking it upon themselves to make you quote unquote normal or fit what their version of normal is for you. This person believed that I should have come back to them so that they could play the hero. But this person was on Social Security disability, EBT. You get Medicare, Medicaid. You don't you DJ once or twice, in a week. And because I know you can only, because I've been on Social Security disability before. So I know that you can only make, because they were telling me I could only make 900 and something a month versus, making double. I mean, like, not even double. God dang it, dude. Like, I was making with overtime sometimes in the holidays, I was making way more than I had ever made in my life. And I was comfortable and I was planning, right? But and that kept, the more I kept succeeding outside of this person and outside of both of them, but especially this one, the more enraged this person got. The other one was mad because I had turned her down sexually. I did not find her attractive. I did not find her soul or her spirit attractive, and she would send people after me. Literally, like, I'm not. She would. I was living out of a hotel, and she would send people to the hotel that she had stayed at, and that her and her boyfriend ended up moving, but she would send people to the hotel like, "Oh no, you need to go here because she's having people over." I don't know you, ma'am. I really didn't know her. I didn't wasn't bothering to get to know her. I had an assignment. I just got off the street at the time. You see what I'm saying? So we have to be careful who we meet, because they had, and she kept it. And when I got there to the hotel, just to say this, she was stalking. She was making, she was had her feelers out for me anyway, and it was annoying me because every time I passed, she would be outside. Never failed. You mean to tell me you and your boyfriend are out here, you're staging this every single time I got to go to work? I started walking in the middle of the street, in the middle of the parking lot, to get away from her. And she, that would annoy her. And I'm like, "The you got a whole family, right?" And so did this other person. Oh, she had a whole, uh, uh, according to her wife. Come to find out, that wasn't true. But you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not trying to get into these people's business as deep as they're trying to get into mine, as deep as they have gotten into mine, to where they've sabotaged me and set me back. And it's hard trying to catch up at this point in time when you're still trying to regulate your nervous system. You have CPTSD, and sometimes it's hard to make it out of the fucking bed. It's hard. It's hard and it's annoying. It's more than annoying. It's still that trauma, because I'm in another state and I still get shit. So anyway, let me continue. Sorry. I'm just really passionate because it's amazing, because the people that I'm talking about, you would look at them and you would listen to them and you would not think that they're engaged, because what I'm talking about is monstrous. And you don't see a monster. You see somebody who is clean cut, who knows how to act like the rest of everybody. They've learned to meld in. They've learned what to say. They are good actors and actresses because they've had to be. in order to survive, to feed. You catch more flies with honey and vinegar. You catch more flies with familiarity. Okay. So, um, so this behavior escalates because they have no internal boundary. When you leave, they lose the person they used to regulate their emptiness. Okay? You became the replacement for their missing identity. Your rejection feels like a threat to their stability. They respond with an attack rather than acceptance. Why they do not stop, and this this is what she said. Cluster B cycles follow predictable triggers: rejection, abandonment, humiliation, exposure, loss of control. One more time for those in the back. Cluster B cycles follow predictable triggers: rejection, abandonment, humiliation, exposure, and loss of control. When these triggers activate, the person tries to pull you back into the dynamic through harassment, intimidation, stalking, recruitment of others, emotional pressure, and symbolic threats. They are not trying to connect, they are trying to regain control. This cycle stops when you remove supply, remove access, and enforce distance. But it doesn't though. I mean, because they're still using the harassment, intimidation, and stalking. And those of you who are survivors of gang stalkers, right? Because that's still the residue is still here. It didn't stop. It's just people say, oh, that program's not is, and it may not be. But one thing that I have realized is that people who anything after 2 weeks, and just depending on how sensitive things can become a habit after 3 days. Like it's not that serious. People get tired of, oh, it takes 2 weeks. No, it doesn't. It takes about 3 days. Um, but after 2 weeks, uh, it can become a habit, right? And so these people who have been gang stalking for, I mean, and they become crazy too. I've seen them, and a lot of those people now are indeed homeless because they couldn't keep up. Their brains they snapped. You can't treat people with you can't treat people the way that you were treating them and then expect not to have some type of uh breakdown breakdown. And I've seen them. I've seen them on, like, you can recognize them because if you're a survivor of the tactics, when they see you, it's almost as if their soul is recognizing you. And it's weird because I've had some of them like do the stalking again. It's like, but you're homeless, dude. Like your hair's all matted. You haven't washed your ass. You're peeing on yourself. I mean, come on, you know? But yeah, and I mean, even the ones that I'm referring to now, both of them they were already, a few slices short of a full loaf. And it just made them, because I fight back. My spiritual mom told me, she's like, you got to fight back in the spirit. You can't fight back in the physical, because that's what they want. And that's how those of us who have been targeted individuals, we know that if we fight them in the physical, because we want to just end it. You're not going to keep following me day after day, month after month, year after fucking year. It's annoying. It's in a grown adult on top of that. At least you're in an adult body, but you're acting like a 3-year old. So, yeah. um, they'll keep going. So they'll keep doing the same harassment, intimidation, stalking, recruitment of others, emotional pressure, symbolic threats. I mean, I've had them say, a few of them say, "Oh, we're dating," and she did. Well, we were never dating. And I have to agree. I'm number one. I'm gay, and number two, I do have preferences. I don't care what it sounds like. I have preferences, and these two women were not a part of my preference. Not that, I mean, you know what I mean? And plus people who are toxic and cluster B personalities will try and demand loyalty and a committed relationship from their targets when they are at their lowest, right? Because they want to be your savior, right? But then here's the thing, because you can't be a savior and be greedy at the same time, you know? I've had some of these guys try and love bomb me with a few, $2. Like, I could make that picking up cans on the street, dude. What the hell? So anyway, just the cycle doesn't stop when when you remove yourself as the supply. It just doesn't. It doesn't stop when if you remove access to yourself, because again, energetically, this is what they were attracted to you energetically. So now, instead of putting on false airs in the physical, they're going to go after you in the spiritual, and that's what happened with me, because these were self-proclaimed witches. Both of them bragged about being witches and doing rituals and things of that nature, right? And some said too much, for thank goodness, because they were out of it and didn't thought that they were talking to one of the homies, and it was me. So anyway, how this impacts your body and healing. Your nervous system responds to harassment even when the person is gone. Sleeping changes, appetite changes, energy drops. I'm so there. Intrusive thoughts, emotional shutdown, physical tension. Your body is trying to protect you from a threat that feels unfinished. And sometimes it is. As I've said, just because you leave them doesn't mean that they're still not attached. And even because what they do to you in the physical that you can physically see, that right? Energetically, they're doing the same thing, because that's their soul. That's who they are to the core. So you're on a different timeline, but they're still trying to pull you back into theirs, which is they're still trying to pull you back into that lower vibration. They're still trying to pull you back into that character that they made of you in their virtual reality that you didn't sign a contract to play the role in. You see? Um, so your body is trying to protect you from a threat that feels unfinished. Healing is possible. You're already doing the work. Your progress is real. The sabotage comes from outside of you, not from you. So she's telling me, because I'm like, oh my God, dude, it's like I can do so much. And because my biggest fear, I've had them personally, I have had them steal from my storage. I have had them steal from my home, like blatantly steal from me, knowing that it was illegal to do. In one case, is dealing with an apartment complex that had been taken over. And the other was I had, when I was in California, and the people who worked there just had once a month, they had this down pat, and they didn't care. You want to talk about secrecy and whatever, these guys were stealing, and it was a regular thing. It was a regular thing, like twice a month almost, they would have these guys would steal. And they purposely didn't put cameras, so they knew the system that they had created, and then would say, well, that's why we have you guys get insurance. And I have a picture of the guy who was doing it, because I asked the Most High. The Most High will tell me. I got those guys. Boy, I was so mad. They had to they and this was another time where I was just like, I'm done. You know, I've been busting my ass for so flipping long, on the streets, off the streets. I was going to start, businesses. And so I was just building up. I said, okay, when we get our place, you know what I mean? They took so much from me just because I survived. Right. So anyway, let's get to it. What do you do next? Focus on what supports your peace. Okay. Keep boundaries, keep your distance, keep your focus on your work, track everything, build your business, build your income, rebuild your nervous system a little each day. You already made the hardest choice. You left the situation. Now you are building your life beyond it. So this was her end for me. And Um, I've done all that. And actually, when I was homeless and I was being gang stalked, and they were attacking my fur babies, and they were unaliving my fur babies, and they were trying to unalive me. As I said, this person, God had to remind me. This was just a couple days ago since I've done this, wrote this podcast script, where I was remembering that she literally tried to shoot me with the BB gun. So when I would get off of work, she would follow me or have somebody follow me, right? And this one particular time, she wasn't going to try and unalive me. And for as far as I know, because I only knew and that's the scary thing too, because I only knew her. She had a whole bunch of BB guns, different kinds that she would get from Walmart. She was totally, completely obsessed. And um, she would practice shooting in her room like a little kid. This is coming from a 50, 60-year-old woman. You know? So, yeah. So yeah, she was telling Nova, the agent was saying, rebuild your nervous system little by little. And again, I've been doing all of this, and I was so afraid when we moved again. Mind you, this is the third time that I'm moving. And was so afraid because you just knowing from past experiences, like, okay, well, how do I build again? Knowing that these people and this person don't think anything of stealing, robbing, what you worked hard for, you know? Um, but things have changed a lot. So for me at least. Uh but it's just the memories and processing, I mean, realizing how deep, like, it's scary to think this person was trying to unalive me for being me. Not because of anything, but she told people I stole from her. She told people, we were dating. I mean, these guys tell so many damn lies. It's not even funny. And some of them are scary. But again, we all know that when narcissists talk, when cluster B personalities accuse you of doing something, they're in fact doing it. Like, and I've said this before, but you guys can go to the playlist of other podcasts and listen. So hopefully this helps somebody. And if you have any questions, please feel free to write it in the comments. Also, you guys, thank you for 500 subscribers. Go to the description and click on the link. I think it's 500 subs. And I have a free PDF and some beats that I've created for you guys. I forget the name of what I said is 5 ways trauma shows up after the relationship ends. Should be really helpful just to have that so you can refer to it when, hopefully just make a clean, smooth, quiet move, because I've had to do it several times. And because sometimes you, and let me tell you this, the stories that I have, so for some of you, it's not going to be as intense. And just to be honest, these two, especially in the group that they belong to, was about race. It was because I was black and female and lesbian. Even though these two women one was in the closet, bisexual, whatever, and the other one was claiming to be, uh, trans, et cetera, But I'm not saying that I would deny somebody's identity, but this person just went along to get along. You have 5 Obama t-shirts, but you're a racist and you're targeting children of black women that you then, sexually assault and then you go after the kids. And that is her history. I have the clipping to prove it, the conversation as well. So, but yeah. So anyway, check out the links and you can get some freebies also from Sealed to Healed as we're starting up a workshop. This is not going to be 8 weeks. This is just going to be 2 hours on a weekend, and it's only $97. And I'm only accepting right for right now 10 people. I like things close knit and intimate, and you get the free work. You get a workbook with it, and you get the replay, and you get to talk to me. And we may raffle and do a one-on-one. You raffle off a one-on-one with me, coaching or empathic listener. Okay, so hopefully, again, this helps somebody. If so, give it a like, subscribe, and share. And I just want you to know, from the ashes we rise, from the soul we lead. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for listening. Again, subscribe for more and visit www.phoenixesrisingacademy.com. And there's other links below. You can actually take a quiz to show what you know about cluster B personalities. All right. I thank you so much again, Phoenixes, for 500 subscribers. Now let's get to 1,000. I love you. Bye.